The BBC News at 1 is next, and stay with us at 2 for Afternoon Live with all the top stories, weather, business and sport.
Another blow to the high street as House of Fraser says it plans to close more than half of its stores with the loss of around 6,000 jobs. Its flagship on Oxford Street is among the 31 stores earmarked to shut as part of a rescue plan.
There is a tsunami of challenges that have come towards retail over the last 5 or 6 years. They've been well documented and they've hit House of Fraser very hard. That momentum has built over the last 24 months or so.
If the plan is approved, the 169-year-old company will shut many of its stores early next year. Also this lunchtime, the Brexit Secretary David Davis says he is not resigning amid divisions over customs arrangements for the Irish border after Brexit. The Grenfell Tower inquiry is told that firefighters were left in an impossible situation with no safe alternative for residents to the stay-put policy. Tributes pour in for the nightclub owner Peter Stringfellow, who has died of cancer at the age of 77. And the microplastics reaching even the most remote parts of the Antarctic as Greenpeace calls for urgent action to curb pollutants.
And coming up on BBC News, Danny Rose reveals he'd been suffering from depression and receives much public support as he and England play their final World Cup warm-up match tonight.
Good afternoon and welcome to the BBC News at 1. House of Fraser is planning to close more than half of its stores across the UK as part of a rescue deal. 31 of its 59 stores, including its flag. The time is almost 1:20 Our top story this lunchtime. Another blow to the high street as House of Fraser says it plans to close more than half of its stores with the loss of around 6,000 jobs. And coming up, the women who walked out from Ford plants 50 years ago with their demand for equal pay.
Coming up on BBC News, the World Cup is a week away and England take on Costa Rica tonight in their final warm-up match before travelling to Russia.
Microplastics are reaching the most remote waters of the world, and pollution in the air is contaminating even the freshest snow in Antarctica.
Turn just that little bit more unsettled.
Oh, Thomas, thank you. A reminder now of our main stories this lunchtime. Another blow to the high street as House of Fraser says it plans to close more than half of its stores with the loss of around 6,000 jobs. And while we've been on air, the government has released a position paper which states that the temporary backstop arrangements to prevent a hard border between Northern Ireland and the Republic should not continue beyond December 2021. We'll have more on that later on in the afternoon on the BBC News channel. But right now, it is time for the BBC News where you are. Bye-bye.
Good afternoon, I'm Tim Haig. It's 1:32 p.m. Here's your latest sports.